Songbringer is a procedurally generated exploration action game. It was brought to life by Kickstarter, with 759 backers pledging about $15,000. Seems reasonable, right? That was back in 2015. The goal was only $9,000 for the developer to release the game in 7 months. Now, they missed the mark a little, and that's the danger of kickstarting a game. But a finished product was delivered, so that's great. Let's jump in and see what we got. Gameplay is pretty mixed. You start by entering 6 characters to generate the map, useful for competing against friends or speedrunning. As Rock, you've crashed your space bike on planet without communication to your ship, Songbringer. Right away you find a sword. Well, that's lucky. You probably shouldn't take it though, but you do. Communication with the ship is not functioning and your crew is missing. Time to collect them and get off this planet. I love how the game is centered around exploration. Even has a slight Zelda vibe since you can stumble on dungeons in any order. There is a pretty detailed map and a one-time use item that will help point you in the right direction. Yet, some areas do require a special item to get past, which limits the exploration. The dungeons are labeled on the map, which further detracts from the delight of finding them. I believe they are ordered for a reason, since I've been in a dungeon where I didn't have the required item. Kinda sucks to fight your way through the whole thing and not have the item. But I mean, it's my fault for not sticking to the order. Perhaps the dungeon should require the item at the entrance so I don't waste my time. I was under the assumption I could do anything because of the open nature of the game. Dungeons are where all of the combat happens. Don't think you're going to be able to dodge all the enemies like in the overworld. Certain rooms will lock you in with what seems like an insurmountable amount of enemies. And you would be correct. Songbringer is fucking hard. So hard, I'm just happy the checkpoint system is so forgiving because I've died a lot. Oftentimes it felt more like luck than skill. Relying on your explosive items is sometimes the only way to win. Who the hell has reflexes fast enough to dodge everything on the screen? I found it to be a lot easier with a controller too. Aiming your attacks can be difficult because 2D enemies in a 3D world. It just doesn't quite line up. Side note, Songbringer has 2 different game modes, regular and permadeath. Trust me, you want to start with regular. Permadeath is going to be for more advanced players and speedrunners. It starts a timer in the top left corner so you know your game time, and also it allows you to skip picking up the sword. That's for serious players only. Items are a part of the game that I'm not fond of. The hat is okay. You'll need it to kill enemies from a distance, but it does little damage. It is useful for collecting items that dropped but are unreachable. It's nifty. Later on, after you can access Songbringer, you'll have the ability to merge items. You bring the items to an engineering bay that has you guess which 2 items can combine in your inventory. Place the items and see what happens. From what I've gathered, you'll want to be combining as many items as possible. I've made some stronger bombs and gave my sword lightning powers. It's possible to only see around 20% of the items each run through. This expands replayability because a different seed could require a different style of play. Songbringer's style is futuristic hair metal. I can't help but compare it with Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery. I had to check, it's not the same developer. A lot of future technology on what feels like a backwater planet. The planet was ravaged by war and it actually feels plausible that the civilization hasn't advanced. Anyway, I think most discount how important lighting is, even in a pixel game. Everything has excellent lighting. It gives flavor to each area on the overworld. It also makes the dungeons foreboding because it can get pretty dark down there. To counteract this, you have your handy sidekick, Jib. He's a pretty clever and funny bot that can be upgraded and helps collect items. In fact, the whole game doesn't take itself so seriously. Rock lost his shirt in the crash and he doesn't care. The Captain and Rock have some pretty good dialogue as well. The game has its own unique style. It's fantastic. As much praise as I've given the game, I'm completely stuck. I wandered around a lot, skipping some dungeons when I couldn't even open the boss door. Different items drop for each seed, so it's tough to gauge how much help you'll get. Turning around because a room was too difficult was not uncommon, and it's frustrating. I don't know if I missed an item, but that's the problem with a procedurally generated, open-ended game. The developer has no idea how much equipment you'll have at each boss unless it's behind a locked door. Yes, even the bramble you have to cut with your sword is a locked door since you need the key, your sword. Expect to hit a lot of walls and questionable areas until you've found an item or crafted better equipment. I have a much lower breaking point for being stuck than the get good crowd. After a couple of failed dungeons, I was ready to try my luck with a new seed. Songbringer's strongest aspect is its aesthetic. The world is beautiful, interesting, and unique. I really struggled with the gameplay and even had to restart to find a seed I liked more. No doubt there will be an audience for this game. I hope to see it at the next speedrunning competition. Should you consider picking up Songbringer? Maybe. If you're into finding your own way through and will stop at nothing to complete the game, then yes. It's not the longest game, so it would be good if you wanted to speedrun or play on the permadeath mode. The game has a speedrunning achievement while beating it in under 2.5 hours to give you an idea. You could get a lot of mileage out of replaying with different seeds. If you do pick it up, I suggest just taking your time and exploring as much as you can on your first playthrough. Thanks for watching. If you do pick this one up, let me know what you think. It's just so damn hard. I really did like it though. I can't wait to see this game destroyed at Games Done Quick, where the speedrunners will just get through and it's gonna be like no big deal and they'll be like, it's an easy game. Good luck. Thanks for watching.